African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoy, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing on the progress of the special military operation as of April 24, 2025. Tonight, the armed forces of the Russian Federation carried out a massive strike with high-precision long-range air, land, and sea-based weapons, unmanned aerial vehicles on enterprises of the aviation, rocket and space, mechanical engineering, and armored industries of Ukraine, production of rocket fuel, and gunpowder. The strike objectives were achieved. All objects were hit. Units of the North Group of Forces in the Belgorod direction inflicted defeat on formations of 3 mechanized brigades and an assault regiment of the Ukrainian armed forces in the areas of the settlements of Osoyevka, Ugorody, Mirapolskoy, Veliky Prikol, and Petrushevka in the Sumy region that the Ukrainian armed forces lost over 45 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, 4 cars, and 3 field artillery pieces. Units of the West Group of Forces occupied more advantageous lines and positions and inflicted losses on the manpower and equipment of 4 mechanized brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, 2 territorial defense brigades, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Kupiansk, Andriivka, Drozhelyabovka, Petropavlovka, Kamenka in the Kharkiv region, Novoy, Kirovsk, and Yampol in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 255 servicemen, a tank, 2 combat armored vehicles, including a Turkish-made Kirpi armored vehicle, 5 pickups, 3 artillery pieces, as well as 5 Oktava S, Bukovel AD, and Anklav electronic warfare stations. 3 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the Southern Group of Forces improved their position along the front line. Defeats were inflicted on formations of 3 mechanized, motorized infantry brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 3 territorial defense brigades, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Sherbanovka, Petrovka, Kramatorsk, Sloviansk, Zakatnoy, Chasiv, Ivanopoly, Konstantinovka, and Seversk of the Donetsk People's Republic. The losses of the Ukrainian Armed Forces amounted to 405 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, 12 cars, and 3 field artillery guns. An electronic warfare station and 3 ammunition depots were destroyed. As a result of active actions by units of the Center Group of Forces, the settlement of Bogdanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic was liberated. Concentrations of manpower and equipment of the heavy mechanized, 2 mechanized, assault, airmobile brigades, the Unmanned Systems Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and the National Guard Brigade were defeated in the areas of the populated areas of Novaya Poltavka, Lysovka, Vodianskoy, Udaknoy, Krivorazy of the Donetsk People's Republic, Mezovaya, and Novopodgorodnoy of the Dnipropetrovsk region. The enemy lost up to 410 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, 6 cars, and 2 artillery pieces. Units of the East Group of Forces continued to advance into the depths of the enemy's defense, inflicted losses on the manpower and equipment of the mechanized, airborne assault, airmobile brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Marine Brigade and the Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Bogodar, Novokrenka, Volnoypol, and Zelenoypol of the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy's losses amounted to 155 servicemen, 6 vehicles, 2 field artillery guns, and 2 electronic warfare stations. Units of the Dnieper Group of Forces defeated formations of a mechanized brigade and 3 coastal defense brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the areas of the settlements of Pavlivka, Novodanilovka in the Zaporizhia region, Ponyatavka, and Tokarevka in the Kherson region. More than 70 military personnel, 12 vehicles, 2 artillery pieces, 2 electronic warfare stations, and an ammunition depot were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile forces, and artillery of the Russian Armed Forces groups have damaged military airfield infrastructure facilities, as well as temporary deployment points of armed formations of the Ukrainian armed forces and foreign mercenaries in 148 districts. Air defense systems destroyed 4 U.S.-made JDAM guided air bombs and 230 aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 661 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 53,430 unmanned aerial vehicles, 604 anti-aircraft missile systems, 23,006 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,546 combat vehicles of multiple launch rocket systems, 24,045 field artillery pieces and mortars, 34,490 units of special military vehicles. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.